Let me know when it's back up, guys. Let me know when it's back up. And, let me know if you guys can hear. Let me know if everybody can hear anything from me right now. Let me know when I'm back up, guys. Let me know when I'm back up. Okay, so I'm back up, but you guys cannot still hear the game, right? There's still no game audio. There's still no game audio. Can anybody hear any of this right now? Oh, you got the game audio now. Okay, sweet. Jeez. Crazy, crazy. Okay, so you guys can actually hear the game now. Good, good, good. Why is this so hard? Alright, sweet. Alright, so let's do this from the beginning, shall we? Okay, so, by the way, this is my kitty Nathan. He is the adorbs. Okay, game audio is a little too loud. Yeah, that's another question. How are the volumes? I'm gonna turn the game audio down a little bit. This is my kitty Nathan. He loves his daddy. He loves his belly rubs. Thank you, Rex Pro 002. There we go. Ugh. Cats don't blink, dude. They really don't that much, so. God, you are such a spoiled cat. Okay, enough belly rubs. Enough belly rubs. Let's do this here, shall we? We are going to be learning some Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, and I am going to be doing my best to try to teach this game as much as possible, as well as learn it at the same time. Now, if you guys are wondering, I'm not going to be sitting here teaching you guys a lot of strategy yet. That is definitely not something that I know much about right now. I'm still trying to learn the game myself, so strategy-wise, I am going to be pure ass. So that is not what we're doing right now. What we're actually going to do here is we're going to study the game and the systems, because that is going to be one of the #1 things that you want to learn about a game before you can actually really start to play it. And so what we're actually going to do here is we're going to go over all the systems in the game little by little. And I'm going to do this basically, if you guys have known me for the past couple of decades of me playing fighting games, I've been known before to write FAQs where basically I break down everything about the games, you know, my CVS 2 fact, just like had all this information, Alpha 3 fact, the X-Men vs. Street Fighter fact, and the other thing too is that this game is still not entirely different than original Marvel games. And if there's one thing I do understand about Marvel games, it's combos, right? Like, I'll be able to tell you why, you know, I'll be able to tell you why you can do something like this as a combo and have it miss, versus why you can actually do that as a combo and have it connect. Oops, if I can still get this. Ooh, my timing is off. Here we go. Right, so I can tell you why that air combo worked that time, but why if I actually try to do it again like this, then the last few hits miss. So like that, the last hit will miss. I can tell you why that it's going to miss sometimes and why it's not going to miss. Because I understand the way that X-Men combos have worked, because I've been doing versus game combos since Children of the Atom. Now, obviously, Children of the Atom, the physics were very different, but since Marvel Superheroes, the physics of the combos have been very, very similar. There's going to be a lot of different techniques on how you want to do air combos and stuff like that. And I'll get into that in later, but what I really want to start with, of course, and again, this is going to be kind of a discovery thing, basically. We're going to learn all of this stuff at the same time. We want to learn why, you know, like how switches work, for example. Like, for example, if I do the switch, like if I do this switch here, Captain America comes from that side, right? But if I actually do the switch like so, whoops, wrong button. Why Captain America comes from that side all of a sudden. So last time I super jumped over here, like if I super jump like this, for example, and I do this, and I call Cap, he comes from the front. But now if I do this instead, whoops, hold on a second. If I need a longer normal move. If I do this instead, he comes from the other side. So why does Captain America come from one side sometimes, and the other side the other times? We'll talk about that once we get into the tag system, etc., etc. So let's start from the very beginning. Again, we're going to explore this, and I apologize to people because people are going to be like, what the hell are you doing, James? Why are you starting at this kind of level of basic? But we want to teach this game from the ground up. I don't care how many fighting games you've played. If this is your first fighting game, everything actually is very, very useful, right? So I'm going to go through the very basics, start from the system level right at the beginning, and what we're going to talk about first. And I want to emphasize this first. Normally, when I sit here and talk about fighting games, I always talk about buttons, right? Like, here's your normal attacks, here's all your normal attacks. But the thing is, I really, really, really want to emphasize movement in this game. So let's really talk about movement here. Let's figure out how movement works in this game, okay? Because we really want to understand the movement in this game. So obviously with every fighting game, you're going to get your standard movement. You are going to get walking back and forth, for example, right? You can walk back and forth like this. You can crouch. You can jump forward. Whoops, that's right. Okay, so that's an important thing to remember. You jump forward, you can jump backwards, and you can neutral jump. This is standard with all fighting games here. And if you notice, if I neutral jump, I cannot change my jump arc. Once I have committed to this jump, I cannot do anything, right? So this is the regular jump. These are just neutral jumps. This is from where you're on the ground walking, and then I forward jump, where I'm walking, and then backwards jump, and then neutral jump. So I can't actually do anything here right now. But the thing about Marvel games is that things really start getting interesting, mostly because of dashing and super jumps, right? And so to dash in this game, there's actually two ways to dash in this game. Tap forward twice makes you forward dash. Tap back twice makes you back dash, right? So this is very obvious things here. So forward dash, back dash. But that's not all we want to talk about here. And thank you, Muscle Hands, for the subscription. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. What we want to discover here is that, for example, there's going to be some important things about dashing here. For example, if you look at my inputs at the left side of the screen, I'm going to dash forward, and then I'm going to hold back immediately on the controller, okay? And you'll notice something is that, so you can see at the top left of the screen, it's forward, forward, back. But you'll actually notice something that when I do that, Spider-Man does not stop. Now this is going to be kind of unintuitive for players who are, for example, coming from Tekken, or maybe even previous Marvel games. Because normally, I mean, in a lot of games you can actually dash and then stop your dash partway through. This isn't really the case with most versus games. Most versus games, once you start dashing, you're committed to the dash. So the problem now is if I dash and I hold back out of habit, I'm going to run face first into a ton of attacks. That's basically going to get you killed, right? So what we want to learn is, can we stop our dash? And you're going to find out, absolutely. So if I dash and hit down forward, I stop right away. If I dash and hit down, I stop right away, or down back. So what we're learning here now is that you can stop your dash with a crouch. So as soon as I dash, if I hit down, I stop dashing almost immediately. And you can see, right, like when I dash, like Spider-Man farts or something like that, so you see all that gas come out from behind him, right? That's what happens when you dash. And if I actually dash and hit down right away, I can actually get him to fart and like not even move at all, right? Look at this, like it doesn't even look like he, look at that, right? Like that was just like passing gas straight up right there, right? So here's this, that's the situation here. So it's going to be very important, that means, that if you dash forward, you're going to want to learn to dash and down back from time to time, because this is how you're going to move. And you can notice you can cancel your dash at any point in time, late, early, very late, or middle. You can cancel it at any point in time during your dash. And so this is very important to learn. This is a muscle memory that you're going to have to get used to. You're going to have to get used to dash and cancel it with a down back, because otherwise you're just going to be running into things all day, especially if you have a character like Captain America that once you start dashing, mofo doesn't stop at all. Like, he just keeps going. Look at this. Look how far he ran, right? So if I'm doing this and I'm holding back, like let's say I'm running forward like this and I see someone come and attack me and I hold back, like I dash forward and I see someone throw out a button or a realities gem bullet is right in front of my face and I hold back to block, I ain't gonna block, I'm gonna die. I'm basically dead in this situation, right? So that's an important thing to understand here, is that out of a dash, what we want to do is make sure we know how to cancel a dash, and the way to do that is go to a down command. So any of the 3 down directions work. They all work exactly the same. You're basically canceling the dash with a crouch. Now, the key thing here is that, of course, you want to do down back, because at least that gives you a block. So that's actually really, really useful to know. Dash, block. Dash, block. Dash, block. Dash, block. Right? So now we're getting Captain America farts here. So you just want to dash and block the best as you can. This is something that's very important to learn in Marvel. So if I dash and the opponent, for example, let's do this really quick. So, for example, if I get Iron Man to do like this and shoot, if I happen to be dashing forward, oops, let's do this again.
Target applied. Here's the big
Dang, he takes forever to launch that gun. Holy crap!
Target applied. Here's the big one.
So what we want to test here basically is that if he does this,
Target applied. Here's the big one.
if I hold straight back, that will, okay, see, that's interesting here. That's interesting that the dash can actually be canceled into block. So this is important to know. This is actually very important to know. Oops, I blocked way too early. So if I hold back, blocking takes priority. So blocking is considered an action. So the dash can actually be canceled into a block. And you saw it right there too. Even before the super came out, once I started running and I hit back, I can block. So this is actually very, very useful to learn, is that I can actually block in time by holding back. So you don't always have to worry about that. But for positioning purposes, like a lot of the times, for example, oops, wrong button. For example, Spider-Man, crouching heavy kick is a great poke, and because it has great long range here like this, right? But if I want to get into this position, I'm not going to be able to do it by dashing and hitting back to stop there. I have to dash and hit down in order to stop. But another thing that you'll also notice here, if you actually dashed here like this, if you actually dash and hit down, there is the ability to actually have Spider-Man maintain some of that momentum. Look at that. Ooh, that's interesting. But it's really based on the timing in which you, yeah, there's really a timing for it. So if I hit straight down, you'll notice if I do it late, Spider-Man stops. If I do it right away, he stops right away. But if I do it in the middle, it looks like he maintains a little bit of momentum. So there's actually different timings in which your momentum is different at different times that you're actually canceling the dash. So if I do it late, I have no momentum. If I do it early, I have no momentum. If I do it in the middle of the dash, or like right when he starts going, you notice that as soon as I crouch, he slides forward a little bit. So he maintains a little bit of momentum. So let's see about Captain America, because since he has a pure run, is he always going to make, yeah, so look, with Captain America, no matter when I cancel the run, he's going to have a little momentum. So if I cancel it early, a little momentum. If I cancel it middle, a little momentum. If I cancel it late, less momentum, but there's always going to be momentum for Captain America. So this is actually something that's very interesting. This is actually something very interesting. No. Let's wait on this. I'm gonna get to the 2 punches in a second. But basically, it's good to understand now with every single character, there's different mobility. So for Iron Man, for example, if I cancel early, he stops, he still has momentum. Middle, he has momentum. Late, he still has momentum, right? So these are very important things to learn. So now I've just learned with different characters, there's different momentum. So with different characters comes great variance in momentum after you crouch cancel. So there you go. So that's actually important to learn. And that's actually going to come into play once I start getting into wave dashing. But we'll talk about wave dashing in a little bit because we're just going into the basics. Whoops, let's go back to Spider-Man. Now, I've already just talked about now, once you started dashing, what happens if you hold back? What happens if I keep holding forward? He just keeps running. And let's see what happens with Captain America. You notice if I tap forward twice, he does stop eventually. He stops right before he gets to Iron Man. But what happens if I keep holding forward on the controller, right? Okay, so Captain America stops anyway. You can't change the distance of his dash with forward on the controller. I can't change it by going to neutral, right? So that's an important thing to learn as well. Captain America has a max dash distance. It's going to be different with every character, and that's something that you actually really want to explore with your character, because that's going to be very important when it comes to wave dashing. And like I said, we'll get to wave dashing in a little bit. But now let's talk about this. I talked about jumping before. So there's neutral jumping, there's forward jumping, there's back jumping. So here's all these different ways to jump. And you can see Spider-Man, for example, if I'm right next to Iron Man and I jump over him, I basically land right next to him, right? Which basically that means is that Spider-Man's jump is very vertical. You can see he doesn't gain a lot of distance on his jump, whereas Captain America jumps a little farther. So I'm going to put my front foot on the red line, jump forward, and I land, and I'm just shy of the second line. Let's see what happens if I do the same thing with Spider-Man here. Actually, it looks like Spider-Man's jump is actually a little further than Captain America, so looks like they both have pretty vertical jumps here. Alright, but that's important. So we've established now that regular jumping kind of has very short range, right? What happens if I castle a dash into a jump now? We've explored the other directions on the controller, but let's see what happens if I dash and then do a forward jump, right? Immediately you see something very different here. Spider-Man, like I'm gonna dash, so here's my regular jump with my front foot at the red line. I land just shy of the second gray line, right? Now what I'm gonna do is dash, and when I get there, I'm gonna jump forward. And you can see how far I go. I got all the way to Iron Man, right? So I'm gonna dash and jump forward, and I've landed next to Iron Man. So you can see through your dash jump, you maintain some of that dash momentum. Now the question really comes down to is, like canceling like this, is there different dash distances based on when you jump during your dash? So if I dash and jump right away, I still land pretty close to Iron Man. If I go a distance and then dash, whoops, if I go a distance and then dash, I land pretty close to Iron Man. If I wait very late and then jump, oh yeah, I've lost all my momentum there, it looks like. No, it looks like if you dash jump, it's going to be the same jump. The dash jump is actually different every single time, basically. I mean, it's going to be the same every single time, regardless of where you jump in your dash. So that's really important here. So this is actually a key movement technique that you're going to start learning when you're playing the game, is that you're going to find that when you're on the ground, you're very rarely just going to jump at somebody. That's basically almost never going to happen because Marvel is a game where things are filled on the screen all over the place, right? And so you want to get in on people, so you're probably going to want to dash jump, because if I'm jumping at him from here, that's not going to do anything, right? And if I want to get over to him so I can regular jump, I can dash over, crouch cancel, then, ooh, yeah, you get a super jump there. So I can do, nah, don't do any of that crap. Basically, if you want to jump at him, you're going to dash jump. Basically, dash jumping is the name of the game in this game. You basically don't want to ever like regular jump that often, right? There's going to be times where you're going to use it in combos, or if you happen to be close up at the opponent, then you can do a regular jump. But if you're far away, dash jump is going to be very important. And if you're a player that's used to Street Fighter, if you're a player that's not used to game with dashing, you might not understand that dashing always typically keeps your momentum going if you cancel it into a jump. So that's a key thing to know. But now let's find out what happens if I dash in neutral jump, because that's actually going to change things too, probably. No, look at this. No matter what, if I dash in neutral jump, I kill all momentum. Is that true with Spider-Man? Dash jump. Yep, there you go. So neutral jumping out of a dash kills all momentum. So I will always neutral jump from exactly where I've dashed. And I will not have any forward momentum. This is not Johnny from Guilty Gear. I'm going to dash and neutral jump, and he is just going to kill all momentum. So let's see what happens if I back jump. Yep, same thing. So if I back jump off of a dash, basically it's the exact same thing as a normal back jump. So there you go. So the only thing that's affected by the forward dash is the forward jump. So that's good to know. It's actually really, really good to know. One thing I did not go over, for example, is if I tap back, if I go back twice, I can't move forward. I can't hold forward to stop my back dash. So again, it looks like I have to do the same thing and cancel it. And it looks like backdashing is going to have kind of very similar momentum properties. So basically, it looks like backdash and forward dash have the same properties, just different characters will have different momentums, different speeds when they forward dash and backdash, different cancel windows on those things when you crouch. But now, here's the question. If I backdash and forward jump, you'll notice I just get the normal forward jump. If I backdash and neutral jump, I kill all momentum. If I backdash and back jump, actually, I just get a regular back jump. Look at that. Actually, maybe there's a little momentum? No, there's not. If I backdash and back jump, there's no extra momentum. There's actually no extra momentum. So that's also important to know. So if you want to run away, backdashing and jumping is not going to get you backwards any faster than actually just backdashing. Backdashing looks like it's going to be faster, whereas when I want to go forward, forward dashing and jumping works really well, but backdashing and jumping doesn't give me squat. So this, again, very important things to know. And yeah, a lot of people are probably in the chat right now going, why is he going over such basic things? But like, you discover these things and you learn these things, and these things will become very useful to you in battle very much. So, alright, so we've already discovered now, kind of as a TLDR, that certain characters, depending on when you crouch cancel their dash, you'll get different momentums. But that is the only way to cancel a dash without blocking. And if I backdash and hit back, I can't do anything. So let's do one more thing. Let's do dashing into buttons, right? One of the important things about dashing into buttons is that you gain momentum off of the dash. So when I attack, you'll notice that Spider-Man goes forward. So if I sit here and like attack here, and I do, like, let's say I do, I'm trying to find a, how do I do the, oh, there it is, it's down forward, okay, it's down forward. So if I do this, like that misses. God, Spider-Man looks so lame when he's doing that. Alright, so, but you'll notice that misses, right? Like, look at that. That's missing. But, thanks to dash momentum, if I dash an attack, all of a sudden, that is gonna hit, right? Because you actually keep a lot of the momentum you have from dashing. So dash attacking is going to be a very important tactic, because that makes sure that I'm going to connect a lot more combos than if I don't dash, because you maintain a lot of momentum. So there's another property of dash that's actually really, really powerful. That's actually something very, very useful. Now, let's look into what a lot of people in the chat are actually talking about, right? We're talking about forward dashing with the 2 punches, because this is the other way to actually dash, is by hitting 2 punches. So, for example, I can actually dash. So even if I'm holding down back and I hit, oh, see, here we go. So holding in the down positions and hitting 2 punches does not let you dash. So 2 punches only lets you dash if you're standing, and if you're neutral, you go forward. If you hold forward, you go forward, and if you hold back, you backdash, right? This is actually what turns out to be one of the most preferable ways to dash in the game. People are actually going to dash more often. Yeah, it's the same kick animation that he had in the old Marvel games for sure. It just, I don't know, it just looks funnier in this. I don't know why. I don't know why it looks funnier in this one. But basically, 2 buttons is going to be a very important way for people to dash because it's much more controlled. And as people have seen in videos, and a lot of people have been mad about this already, this game has full screen proximity guard, right? And a lot of people are really frustrated by that. So even if I'm way over here and Iron Man activates the thing and I hold back, I can't move. I get stuck in blocking animation, right? So no matter how close I am, I'm stuck. And if I want to backdash, I can't, because block has a higher priority of an input than blocking. So I can't backdash. So like the guy activates this thing and I want to back, look at this. I can't even backdash here even though he's shooting in the opposite direction. So a lot of people are frustrated by this, by the proximity guard thing. Well, 2 punches still works, right? 2 punches does not overlap the blocking input, so 2 punches is always going to let me backdash. So that's why you're going to see a lot of people preferring to use the buttons to dash. And it's actually really, really very useful in movement, as we'll find out once we get into a little bit about wave dashing. Again, I'm just going over dashes right now. And this is already a lot of good information on dashing. I know people are making jokes like, oh, I didn't know any of, oh, haha, I didn't know any of this. Thanks, David. Don't trust me. Like, knowing all these little things will help you in the end. Trust me, they will come up. And so here's the thing, right? So 2 punches is very useful. But once you dash with 2 punches, you're going to find out pretty much everything is the same as the forward input. You know, depending on when you cancel it, you're going to have different speeds, for example, like so. I can still get Spider-Man to fart pretty much and not go anywhere. And then if I cancel it late, he doesn't do anything. But if I cancel it a little bit, like right when he starts, I get more momentum like that. So there you go. So I can dash and hit down. And then you can see that Spider-Man will actually get a little momentum. So that's actually important. Very important. So you start learning. So people are going to start learning to dash with the 2 punches instead of doing forward, back, back. Another reason why people prefer dashing with buttons as opposed to joystick taps is that basically it's 1 frame. It's a 1 frame dash. There, it took me 1 frame to input that, right? It took me 1 frame to input that, whereas forward at least takes 3 frames. Forward, neutral, forward. It's always going to take 3 frames to get a forward dash. And in a game like Marvel, even though that's 2 different frames, most people aren't going to be able to dash in 3 frames because that's like physically impossible. But then also, it just takes time to do it. But if you really want to dash on cue, hitting 2 punch buttons is going to be useful. Now, there of course is going to be situations where, you know, you're going to want to make sure you learn to go put the joystick at neutral to dash, because if you actually if you're blocking down back and I hit forward and I want a forward dash, there's the potential that you might actually come out with a super. So one of the things that I actually want to talk about, if you want to learn to dash, neutral dash is very important if you want to go forward, because it's not going to overlap accidentally with a special move code if you accidentally roll the controller. So don't get too used to holding forward and dashing. Try to go to neutral and dash. It's actually going to be very important. And then learn to go to down back to block. There are going to be little small techniques that are actually kind of nice to know. So the next thing that you will probably want to, well, because I've talked about this now, dash and crouching and keeping momentum and stuff, let's talk a little bit about wave dashing, okay? Because this is another very important technique that a lot of people have learned. A lot of times, let's say I want to close the distance on Iron Man here, right? And so I can dash jump, okay? But you know what? You're putting yourself in the air, and when you do go in the air, regardless of the fact that you can chicken guard, you're putting yourself at a risk, right? Because opponents can dash under you, they can hit you from either side, they can lock you down in the air and set you up for mix-ups, etc., etc. You know, there's definitely advantages to being on the ground or not. But also forward dash, you just lose a lot of control. So if I forward dash and jump, if I dash and then jump, I can't control my momentum anywhere. So basically, where I land, everything that happens here is controlled by fate. I'm not controlled by fate. I've left my fate to the jump. And it's shitty to not have control over your movement whenever you want. So if I wanted to dash at my opponent, you see it took me 2 dashes to get to him. 1, 2, like that. That's not bad. That's kind of decent. So let's do it with the punches here, like so. Okay. So it's like 1, 2, and I'm over next to him, right? Well, the question is, what if I actually want to go faster? What do I want to do if I want to get up to him even quicker than that? Well, I've talked about this and the ability to cancel this into a crouch, right? Well, the thing about it is, when you cancel into a crouch, you're in a neutral state. And the neutral state basically means I can choose to do anything I want. So as soon as I crouch here, I'm in a neutral state. So that means one of the things I can choose to do is jump backwards, super jump. I can dash and then attack. I can dash and then call a gem if I wanted to, etc., etc. But most importantly is I can dash again. So what you're going to learn right now, what you're going to see, and this is something that I've had to learn, for example, in Tekken, is learning movement. Movement is very important, and one of the first things that you're going to want to learn in Marvel to play this game properly is wave dashing. Wave dashing. So what happens is you can dash, hit down, go back to neutral, dash, hit down, go back to neutral, dash, hit down. And if you can learn the proper rhythm of this, so that was like a very slow rhythm, I'm doing this. Oh, I just did it. Actually, that might have been the perfect rhythm. But if you notice, I can get there in 2 dashes much faster. So let me mash on like 2 punches. See how it's like hop, hop, like that, right? If I do it any faster, I come out with an attack. Because during your dash window, I can't dash again. So if I hit 2 punches and then 2 punches, you cannot dash in the middle of a dash. That's just, they just don't let you do that. So instead, the game goes, well, you hit buttons. Since you can't dash again, I'm just going to make you attack, right? So that's a problem. So now I have to time it right and get 2 dashes like this. So dash, dash. That's the fastest I can get. But if I learn to actually dash, hit down, and learn the proper rhythm for that, look how fast I look like a freaking, I really look like a bug, right? I'm looking like a little bug, like a little flea hopping across the screen. Look how fast I get over to him from this, right? And so there you go. This is wave dashing in Marvel. And this is going to be very important because forward jumping and dashing and forward jumping, I'm leaving my fate to the jump arc, and I'm totally vulnerable in that. But if I wave dash, the entire time I'm in a defensive stance. Because if I can learn to wave dash at down back, that's even better. Because instead of doing straight down, if I do down back, I'm canceling my dash into a block. Right? And look at this. Look how fast you can get across the screen with that. Ah, but there's something interesting. I did it even faster. And you notice that Spider-Man ain't doing shit, basically. Look at that. That took me like 4 wave dashes to get there. The reason why this happens is because remember when we actually first did forward dashing and the canceling, we noticed that if we did it at different timings, he had different momentums on the slide. So with wave dashing, there's not just a rhythmic pattern of doing down, down into 2 punches like this, alternating between the 2, like this. Look at my input. With every character, there's going to be a specific rhythm that you want. And it's going to be different with every character. This is the tricky part. With Spider-Man, if you do it too fast, it actually is slower than if you do the rhythm a little bit slower. Because if you do like that, look how far he slides forward. So you gain so much more distance. So if you can do that twice, look how fast I can get over to Iron Man. In just 2 wave dashes, I'm across the screen, and I'm right next to him. Boom. And that's with perfect rhythm. If I do it too fast, I didn't go anywhere. If I actually do it a little bit too slow, I get there, but goddamn, it took me forever to get there, and that's not good either. So you want to learn the right timing. You want to learn the right rhythm for every character to wave dash over. For someone like Captain America, who we learned where the rhythm basically very rarely changes the momentum, it's probably not as crucial, but probably still better to get a decent rhythm. But you can see right here, even if I do it as fast, yeah, if I do it as fast as I can, he doesn't really go anywhere. So you still want to have a decent rhythm when you do the wave dashing with Captain America, because if you do it too fast, you just don't get there that fast. But Captain America, because the different parts of his dash do not have different momentums on crouch canceling it, it's gonna matter a little less about how fast you do it, or even if I do it a little slower. Like that is gonna be the same amount of time that it's gonna take me to get there as 3 of them. For example, if I do 3 quick ones, it's probably gonna be almost the same amount of time if I do 2 longer ones, like so, right? And again, this is just gonna be something that you gotta learn with each individual character. That's just something that you're gonna have to learn with each individual character, right? Now, another thing that's going to become very, very important for me. So, okay, one of the things, movement. Understand forward dashing jump is nice because it gets you far forward. Understand that you can cancel your dashes into crouch. And then really understand how to use wave dash. This is super important. In fact, probably one of the most important things to learn, because in Street Fighter, you're used to just walking around and jumping. You know, and in Marvel, it's going to be a completely different thing, because you're going to be wave dashing most of your movement on the ground. Now, we're going to talk about whether that's a good idea or bad idea later on, because being on the ground a lot in Marvel is just not a good idea overall, but we'll get to that a little bit later. So that is the important thing about wave dashing. Learn this right away and practice it. Do what I'm doing right now. Practice this wave dashing, because it's going to be very important. And try, if you can, to do it with down back instead of straight down as well, just to make sure that you're blocking during the wave dashing. But learn this technique. Learn this wave dashing technique, because it is going to be very crucial to you in games. And in fact, with some characters like Spider-Man, it's actually going to be very crucial for landing combos like that too. I know you can actually get to him in time. I haven't actually practiced this yet, but you can definitely OTG them mid-screen if you do this right. Oops, I accidentally hit the wrong button. There you go. So I got the OTG, and you can definitely do a lot more. I can like OTG into towards heavy, so basically like so, right? So now I get a combo off of that. So I can actually do a combo since I learned wave dashing. If I try to do that with just normally dashing over there, there's no way you're gonna get it. Even if I try to dash jump, I'm not gonna get there. I'm just not gonna get there. See? So wave dashing is the fastest way to go. So that is actually very important to learn how to wave dash, and yeah, practice it so you don't come out with that either. So that's happening because I'm accidentally doing a quarter circle back motion. So you're gonna just want to have to practice not doing that by accident. And honestly, if you do use just straight down for wave dashing, you will avoid that a little bit more. But just understand that if you wave dash with straight down, you are not blocking the entire time, which means you will be running face first into many things, right? But it's very easy to cancel at any point into down back just off of reaction. Now, the next very, very important thing to learn is backdash wave dashing. And this is where things get a little bit trickier. It's kind of the same, but it's a little different because, like I said, if you have your controller in neutral and you hit 2 punches, it's going to prioritize forward dash over backdash. You can hold back and hit 2 punches and you will backdash, right? But now this gets a little bit trickier, because now if I actually want to wave dash backwards, I have to hold back, hit 2 punches, go to down, and then back in 2 punches and then down, back in 2 punches and then down. So there's a little bit more joystick involved. You're not actually just letting the spring return the joystick to neutral. You're actually going backwards right now. Oh yeah, and if you go down, down, you'll actually have, yeah, like if I do it too quickly with Spider-Man, I could come out with potentially the Spider Sting. But also you could come out with the down, down supers as well if you happen to have one, which I do believe Captain America has. See, yeah, there you go. So I did it too fast and I came out with For freedom! Stars and stripes, right? So that's a problem as well. So if you want to learn backdashing, it's going to be a little bit more involved, and it's going to be a little bit tricky because now you're moving the joystick from down to back, right? And in that case, there's going to be a very high chance that you might accidentally do quarter circle back if you're not careful with your inputs. Look at my inputs here. Yep, see, there's a diagonal down back there, so that's a problem. So what a lot of people actually do is instead of going to straight down on backdashing, they go to down back. So they hold back on the controller and just shift the controller down to down back. Because remember, any direction that's down will cancel it. So instead of going back to neutral and then to back, which gives you the very high potential to accidentally do a quarter circle back, change it from back to down back. So make sure your hand is always holding back on the controller and you're only shifting between back and down back. And it's a little tricky. You're gonna have to learn that. And it's gonna be very easy to miss the timing up and you're gonna end up like whiffing buttons like this for a long time. But this is so essential to learn. This is gonna be so essential to learn for you if you can actually do this and do this well. Learning to wave dash backwards is a skill that I do not possess, okay? I am terrible at back wave dashing, and it is one of the reasons why I suck at Marvel games, because I have never learned to put back wave dashing instinctively in my hands, and so it's really, really bad. And yeah, KLX actually talks about that different characters have different awkward dash timings, so that it's very, very different. So different characters can be really, really bad. Oh, I'm so terrible at Korean backdashing, but Korean backdashing kind of works in this game. You can actually do Korean backdashing, but it's just so slow compared to wave dash back. I mean, look at that. So what a lot of people do, you'll actually see a lot of top players do, and this is important too, is learning how to transition from forward wave dashing into back wave dashing, which, as you can see, I am terrible at. Holy crap. Jesus. Yeah, I am terrible at this. Yes, baby, there you go. Jesus. But when you actually see the top players, you'll actually see them go back and forth. So honestly, there are times when you should just go into training mode and just do this all day. Start slow, and then learn to speed up as you go. Whoops, see, I didn't cancel the last one. Oh, jeez. And just keep practicing this. And then I'm doing it hella slow, like I'm putting pauses in between everything, but that's because I haven't practiced this enough. Once you actually get good at it, you're just gonna be like zipping around the screen like, Jesus, I can't even demo it. Oh, man, I'm so terrible at this. But this is an important skill to learn. I keep not canceling the last one. And then I keep super jumping by accident. So basically, this is the way that it actually works. Dash, 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 right? That's what you want to do. Learn to wave dash forward, learn to wave dash back, and then learn to cancel between the two. And like I said, I'm terrible at it, so Jesus. Okay, look, see? Something I have to practice. But that's very, very, very important thing to understand. So use the metronome. Yeah, basically, you know, you know, yeah, like audio is very, very important. Oh God, that's hard. Oh, oh man. Is there actually a metronome built into this game? I mean, I would be amazed if there actually was a metronome built into the game. That's actually funny. Oh, see? Oh! Oh, okay. Oh, I almost have it. I almost have it here. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. I'm actually getting it. I'm actually getting it now. So, yeah, there you go. So, you know, I'm doing the rhythm. I'm putting the rhythm. So, like, it's actually... I'm actually kind of doing it a little bit better now. But again, this is something that you got to practice. This is so important for movement in Marvel. So one of the first things that you're going to want to do when you come into this game, you're going to be like, hey, let me learn these badass combos that I'm just going to do all day, you know. And that wasn't a badass combo, but basically like... Oh, shoot, I didn't actually get to the point, but you can get to the point. This is my Spider-Man D&D, by the way, which is not necessarily very good, but I just like it because it's Spidey swing crazy. But, you know, instead of learning those combos right away, if you really want to get good at this game, you've got to learn some of the mundane things, too. And, again, you know, learning fighting games is really about sometimes practicing mundane things. And, yeah, it's kind of annoying sometimes if you're not a training mode junkie, but these are things that is what you've got to learn. This is what you have to practice, what you have to learn in fighting games. I'm not here to tell you fighting games are easy. Fighting games are hard, okay? They're very hard. They're going to take practice, but they're absolutely achievable, and once you actually start getting it, it's actually really, really cool. Like, once you actually, the first time you actually manage to do, like, and then do, like, the combo afterwards, trust me, you will feel like a boss, right? You will feel like a boss the first time you land that in a game, but you are not going to be able to learn how to do that until you learn the fundamentals of wave dashing. So, learn the fundamentals of wave dashing first. So, there you go. How do you wave dash without getting quarter circle, double punch supers all the time? So, Rick Rockman, I think you came in a little bit late. But when you want to do the forward one, you can do it at neutral. So as long as I'm just hitting down in 2 punches and alternating between them, I'm never going to come out with a super, right? Ah, Spider-Man! With great speed comes great spasms! Ah! Right? So you can do that. But when you're going backwards, just shift the controller from down to down back. Don't ever go to neutral. So when you go backwards, just make sure you shift from down to down back. So basically you learn that rhythm between those two there. Right? And that way you will never come out with a quarter circle back because you're never going straight to down. So there you go. Seriously, Tony Stark is like, what the hell is going on, Spider-Man? So there you go. So that's basically how you avoid it. So back, you want, when you do back wave dash, you want to make sure you always do down back to down back. And forward, you always want to just kind of do straight down a lot of times. So that's very important here. Learn to wave dash. Now, people in the chat have talked a little bit about plink dashing. Plink dashing doesn't work in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, at least as far as I can tell, unless someone knows a plink dash that I don't know. So the reason why plink dashing worked in Marvel 3, and if people are wondering what plink dashing is basically if you piano stuff, like look at my inputs up there. I can hit punches at the same time, like that, and I get the dash. But if you notice, if I hit the 2 buttons just maybe 1 or 2 frames apart, it still comes out as a dash. Even though on the top of the screen up there, you actually see they were hit on separate frames. They were hit on different frames, right? That's because the beginning of all normal attacks, like the first 2 frames, the first 1 or 2 frames, can be canceled into a dash just in case you don't hit both of the buttons at the actually same time, right? Just in case you don't hit them at the exact same time, they let the dash work. They let the dash work. So in Marvel 3, the reason why plink dashing worked is you would dash, cancel your dash into a normal, but that normal could also be plinked into a dash. So you could actually go plink, 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 and you'll end up plink dashing, right? And you're like, wait, James, didn't you just do a plink dash? No, that's just the end of the dash. That's just the dash window is over and I can actually just dash again. You can notice I'm not plinking at all, right? In this game, they do not let you plink a normal move out of the dash. They do not let, once you are dashing, they just shut off dashes for that small window, you cannot dash. So you cannot plink dash in this game, whereas you could in Marvel 3. This is to my knowledge. This is to my knowledge. If there is a glitch or if there is a technique that somebody has in the chat that they can let me know that there is actually such a thing as plink dashing in this game, please let me know. But as far as I know, plink dashing does not exist in this game. Plink dashing does not exist in this game, so that's very important to note. So wave dashing is the most important thing. So you're gonna have to learn how to wave dash in this game, because honestly, backdash, plink dash was way easier for me than backdash, wave dashing. In Marvel 3, I only plinked dash, but it doesn't work in this game. So you're gonna have to learn how to wave dash back like so. And see, I'm terrible at it because I keep doing it. I keep missing my timing, so I come out with the punch instead. So there's a lot of little different things like that. So, all right, let's do this here. So that's all about dashing. So I've covered a lot of dashing, but I mean, out of curiosity here, I just really want to know if I dash and web ball, you'll notice that special moves don't really retain the... Like if I punch, you see how he keeps sliding forward like that? If I do a special move instead... Oh, that's because the special move involves me hitting down. That's why. Yeah, so by default, you can't really dash into a special move now that I think about it. Huh, that's interesting. I was so excited to find out, does this combo work? Oh, I'm so excited by that. I just saw that on Twitter today. I actually have, oh, that's so sick. I can actually combo into the web ball. Dude, that's so good. That's so good. Okay. Hell yeah, my Mubata's a gold digger, Naleb. This is how you have to live. Oh, shout outs to Freakmaster. Thank you for the continued subscription. I missed that earlier on stream. But see, like, every time I'm talking to you guys now and I'm not actually demonstrating something, I'm just going to be practicing this wave dashing because this is so important. Probably most important thing to learn from the get-go. It's just like everybody in Tekken telling me to learn the Korean backdash or learn to sidestep a lot. Movement is always going to be the most important thing in a fighting game. Movement, 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 okay? If you didn't understand what I meant by that, movement. I'm looking at you, movement. Okay. Yeah, I know, Naleb. I'm just teasing you. I'm teasing you. So we've covered dashes, we've covered walking, we've covered dashing and jumping, we've covered just regular jumping. Now, of course, the next crazy thing, the super jump. The super jump is the next most super important thing in this game. But before we get to that, actually, I really want to cover one thing because, you know, obviously there's blocking. There's going to be high and low blocking, right? So, for example, if I record Iron Man to do something like this, I want to actually block. Oops, hang on a second. Okay, so you can back block. You can crouch block, right? Now, of course, there are going to be some moves that are lows, like so. That back blocking is not going to block. See that? Ugh. So you have to low block those. And then, of course, there's going to be jump attacks, right? So if I do a jump attack with Iron Man, like so, that was the damn slowest fly combo ever. Alright, there we go. So if I low block here, Jesus. Really, Spider-Man? Oh my god. Alright, Spider-Man beats Iron Man, we have just discovered.
That's it. That's it.
Oh, what?
That's it.
What? This thing doesn't... What? I'm so mad. I'm so mad about this right now. Hang on a second. I'm kind of upset about this right now. This doesn't hit anybody? I'm really upset about this right now. Alright, let's try something else here. Whoops, let me see. How low can I, what if I did and then did that? So if I actually flew down a little. Hang on a second. Okay, there we go. So Iron Man actually has to move down a tiny pixel. You actually have to move down a tiny pixel. There you go. You actually have to move down a tiny pixel. But as you can see, I cannot low block it. I'm getting hit by it, right? Ugh. So I have to hold back to block. Boom, there you go. Wow, I can't believe that tiny pixel makes such a difference. Holy crap. Okay, so holding down back doesn't work. So obviously, I have to stand block it. So just like most fighting games that you're used to, there is a difference between stand guard and block guard. So very obvious. When you guard while standing, you can't block lows. If you're blocking down, you can't block moves that are considered high. And then there are moves that are considered mid, which basically you can block in either direction. I know the nomenclature is different for different games. Tekken, it's different, and I know in a lot of Street Fighter games they've been changing the nomenclature as well for high, mid, and low. It's very confusing. I'm not sure which way they're going with Marvel yet, so I'm not going to really name. I'm just going to say there are moves you have to block high, moves that you have to block low, and then there are moves like Iron Man's standing kicks, which you can block in either direction. I can block crouching, and I can block standing. Right, so there's just going to be moves that you can block in both, block in one or the other. Oh, so they use mids as overheads in this game as well? Oh, okay, alright. Mid is an overhead, and so then there's the special mids, I guess, that you can block low and high. That's why I hate the way that this sounds. But the difference is that high moves are moves that you can crouch under, so... In any case, there are moves that you can block high, there are moves that you have to block low, there are moves that you can block in both directions. The reason why I bring this up is because when you jump and block, there is no such distinction. Jumping and blocking, and it doesn't matter which direction you jump, you can air block everything. You can air block everything if you are jumping in any direction, basically. So it doesn't matter. There's no high-low distinction. So once you're in the air and blocking, there's no high-low mix-ups anymore. And that's why it is super important to jump and block in this game. Jump and blocking is a very, very, very important thing to have. Now, I'm going to talk about this because I want to talk about the concept called chicken guarding. One of the very, very... most important things in a Marvel game is learning to up, back, and block. So jump in the air and start blocking. Because there's no high-low mix-ups, you are succumbing to yourself to far less possibility to get opened up by blocking in the air. One more thing I want to talk about jump that's very, very important. Very, very, very important to talk about. And that is in the corner. If I jump at the opponent, the cornered opponent takes priority. This is Street Fighter 2 and 3 status. This is Guilty Gear status. And now this is, and this is MvC3 status. This is not Injustice. This is not Street Fighter 4. This is not Street Fighter 5. In those games, the jumping character takes priority in the corner. And they will push you out of the corner. Now, I believe characters have moves that will trigger that, such as my cartwheel with Captain America. But that means when you're in the corner and you chicken guard, then you don't even have to worry about left-right mix-ups. You can just block. However, as someone else pointed out just now, whoops, if you block in the air, you actually take chip damage now. So air blocking causes you to take chip. So as long as, even though this is safe, you'll notice that Iron Man is actually losing damage. So that's another very important thing to learn. Whereas if I just block on the ground, like so, no chip. Ground blocking gives you no chip. No chip on ground blocking except for special moves, which is unique to special moves. So that's important to learn as well. So when you jump in air block, you do take a little bit of chip damage, but however, you don't have to worry about high-low mix-ups, right? Now, here's the thing. I was talking about chicken guarding. So I'm holding up back right now. I'm just holding up back for this character right now. So all I'm doing is this. So if I get him up backing in the corner like this, you'll notice that basically I won't be able to hit him out of the air with anything. Right? So he's cool, he's safe. Now obviously I can air throw him, but we'll get into throws later on, right? However, the most important thing to learn in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, which is extremely different in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, is that there is no blocking in pre-jump frames. So someone in the chat just asked, is chicken guarding good or bad? Yipes keeps saying it's bad, and that is because you cannot block now in your pre-jump frames. This is so different than the previous Marvel games. This is such an important thing to know, which means if I time my button just right, I am going to hit him in his pre-jump frames. Like that. And he stays grounded. So if you are... Oh, I guess there's a timing that you can get hit out of the air. Okay, interesting. So there are a couple of frames that you're airborne that you will get hit as well. Man, I don't know if I'll ever be able to replicate that. There's like literally one frame where you get in the air and you can't block anymore. And you'll actually get hit out of the air. Whoa. Alright, but it's not going to be very, very common here. Oh, yeah, you can do all sorts of things out of pre-jump. Like, for example, I'll be able to cancel into a special move out of pre-jump, right? So, like that'll be an air one like that. But you just can't block in the middle of a pre-jump. And so, chicken guarding actually, yes, turns out to be a bad thing in this game. Because in previous Marvel games, once you start getting into a mix-up, any gap in the opponent's string and you start jumping backwards, you will block and you will be safe. But it is not happening in this game. Not the same as squat jump frame. So the example that I'll give here is that when you jump, you'll notice there's the animation where the guy has to go whoop. Like you'll actually spring, like they're still grounded, but you see them kind of squatting and getting ready to jump. It's very subtle. Okay, I hope you saw it right there. Like that. Those are pre-jump frames. My feet are still on the ground, but I'm starting the animation frames. Why can't you be like Guilty Gear and let me turn off the menu? But that's a pre-jump frame right there. Every character has those pre-jump frames, and if you get hit out of those frames, you are SOL, basically. So when you... Oh, see there? I got him out of the air again. So there is a frame or two that you can actually get hit out of the air with that. So that's important to note. So as a person doing the combo, and if you try to hit someone out of the pre-jump frames, you know what? You're never going to intentionally hit someone out of their pre-jump frames. You are, but Marvel's kind of hectic enough that the combo that you hit them out of the air with is going to work on the ground anyway. So it's really not that big of a deal. But in any case, very important to note that you can get hit out of your pre-jump frames. So that's a problem, right? So if you're trying to defend in this game, holding up back is not going to work. And in fact, will get you killed very often, as I found out in some sessions that I played early on. I just had the habit of holding up back, and I started getting hit, and I'm like, why am I getting hit? And I'm like, the pre-jump frame. So do not actually do that. Do not actually do that. Alright, so that is a problem with jumping. That's very, very, very important to know about regular jumps. Now the question is, I don't know what the answer is on super jumps. So we have super jumps here, and this will only work if I'm actually super jumping with perfect timing. Actually, let me start all over again. Alright, so let's see if I can... Oh, man.
Here we go.
Okay, so you can get hit out of your pre-jump, super jump top frames as well. Super jump does not afford you any extra, anything better. Super jumping does not give you any extra abilities to block when you land. Oh boy. Okay, so that is great to know. So trying to escape corner pressure by super jumping also doesn't help. It also doesn't help. So the answer is don't chicken guard in this game. Don't chicken guard in this game. However, if the hole is big enough, so let's say you know, if you actually know that there's a large enough gap in between the attacks and you know you can jump out of it, then that is something that you may want to figure out. If you know there is a gap large enough in the opponent's offense that you can jump back, then getting into the air and blocking is more important. But again, remember, even when you do that, you are going to take chip damage. Oops, sorry. You're going to take chip damage. Oops. See, you can see Iron Man's health going down. Dang it.
Not too shabby.
Yeah, so you can see him take a little chip damage there. Yeah, see, right there. So you can see him take damage. Anytime you air block in the air, you will take chip damage. Now, very important thing to know about that, however, is that you cannot die from that chip damage. You will never die from that chip damage. That's just something I know. I can test it, but you cannot die from normal move chip damage in the air like that. So there we go. So now we know that about super jump pre-frames, but now let's just talk about the super jump in general. If I hit down up, that's how you do a super jump, right? So down up, you can see I neutral jump, high up like this, you can do it high. Neutral jump, you can do it on a forward jump, and you see how high I go and how far I go. And you'll always recognize a super jump because you'll see the little swishy lines, you know, the whoosh lines appear under the guy. And you'll actually see on a super jump back, I can go very far back. I can go very far forward, I can go very far back, I can neutral jump, etc. Now the thing that's key about a neutral jump is that you can guide them. So it doesn't matter which direction you super jump first, you can cancel out the momentum and go back the other way. Or I can go as far as, so I can stop it and then go back forward a little bit. Stop it a little, go back forward a little bit. Or I can neutral jump and then go backwards, or I can neutral jump and come forward all of a sudden. The very important thing about super jump is that you can change its direction. But now here's the question is, what about the other directions? Like, what about up? Alright, up doesn't do anything. If I hold up, nothing seems to happen. What happens if I hold down? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Woo! I can actually kill my upward momentum with down during a super jump. Oh, and I can still guide it with the down forward and the down back. This is actually going to become a key technique, and I don't see a lot of people doing this a lot yet, but this is going to happen. This is going to be a key factor in most offense. Because remember I talked about dash jump, but you're kind of like, you kind of now have left your fate to your jump arc, right? So when you dash jump, you're basically frozen in this jump arc so much to the point that the opponent could just be like,
That's it.
so I could do, for example. So if I dash jump, oops, okay, I did that too early. Oh no! So I can do, for example, I'm gonna have to do a better job showing this off like this. He could come and kick me from the other side. Let's pretend. Let's pretend it's not a recording dummy and he's gonna jump to the other side. But now, if I think about it, I can actually replace dash jump completely with dash super jump and then cancel it with down. Whoops. I like this. And although you don't get the momentum, you will not keep the momentum from the dash. Because you have to hit down inherently to do a super jump. You're not going to get the momentum like this dash jump here. And remember, dash jump is still going to be useful. I'm not saying it's not going to be useful, okay? Dash jump is still going to be very useful. But dash hyper hop or super hop, as some people have taken it to calling it. I know me and Olaf Redland on a show previously were calling it the dud jump because it's down, up, down. So it's dud jump, and it looks like a jump that turns into a dud because you don't go all the way up. So we were calling it dud jump, but a lot of people don't seem to be fond of that name. So we've been calling it super hop. So the nice thing about the super hop is that I can block and I can control myself a little. Like this, right? Like so. So I can actually control myself a little bit. And so you have more control of where you're about to land, for example. Now, here's the thing. The reason why this becomes really, really, really relevant here. Yeah, I like dud jump. I liked dud jump, but everybody else that I've told that to is like, I don't like dud jump. We don't need acronyms. And I'm like, whatever, okay. But in any case, one very important thing to note about this game is that if I do a regular jump, so let's say I do this, and jump over Iron Man, I want you to watch Spider-Man very carefully. I'm doing dash jump, and you'll notice one thing is that Spider-Man doesn't turn around. So this is standard. This is a standard fighting game thing, right? If I jump over the enemy and I do an attack, I'm just going to keep going and attack in the direction that I'm going in. Now, for a super jump, though, I want you to pay attention to Spider-Man again. Notice that Spider-Man turns around during the super jump. That means when you jump over somebody, I actually aim my attacks in the correct direction. If you've come from Marvel 3, this is odd. If you come from Marvel 2, this is like, thank God, because this is how it worked in Marvel 2. You turned around when you super jumped over the opponent. And when you regular jump, you don't. In Marvel 3, you could not turn around in the air unless it was a special move. But if you super jumped over the opponent in Marvel 3, you would always face the same direction. You could not turn your normal moves around. In this game, they are much kinder about that, and you can actually turn around. Now, the reason why that's actually very important to note is because now if I actually do a dud jump or a super hop over the opponent, you'll notice I get the arc of a regular jump, but I turn around. Turn around. Every now and then I get a little... Oh, sorry. Okay, I do that on my Zelda stream. Sorry, I'm not going to sing on my fighting game streams. But you'll notice that I actually turn around. And this is very good. Especially for characters who can confirm off of this. For example, Spider-Man should be able to do... God, I don't know if I'm going to do this. Spider-Man should be able to do, like, do this into air dash or something. I don't know, whatever the case is. But now you can actually turn around on this, and so you don't even have to worry about cross-ups. So learning dud jumps or super hops gives you a better opportunity to attack them. Now you have to make sure you pass completely over them. If I hit the button too early, you'll notice that I won't turn around in time. So I do have to wait a little bit. There you go. Oops. Man, I'm bad at dud jumps here. And I'll explain why I'm bad at dud jumps in just a second, actually. Man, I'm doing it too early. Yeah, look at that. You actually have to wait quite a bit in order for it to work. But there you go. That's how it works right there. Advancing guard? Yeah, I'll get into advancing guard later. I will definitely get into advancing guard very, very much later, but that's going to come later because I'm going over movement right now. So that's actually kind of important to learn about these things, is that you'll actually turn around. So it's actually kind of nice. So if I'm over here and I like super hop over the opponent, and then I wait long enough, I'll actually turn around. And this actually becomes significant later on, as I'll show you as well. once we get into the tag mechanic. Oh boy, once we get into the tag mechanic, things get fun. Oh boy. All right, so that's the super hop, but there's a couple of things that we really need to go over super hop right now as well. And the reason why I keep missing the super hop, and this is kind of unfortunate, but this is just going to be one of those things that you're going to have to understand in execution. You can actually hit down on the controller too fast. So if I do it at a decent timing here, if I actually do it at a nice speed, I stop my super jump and I start falling down, right? But if you do it too fast, so if I go down, up, down, you'll notice that I don't cancel it. So it's either you're hitting them during pre-jump frames, or there is the couple of first frames during the start of the super jump that you cannot cancel it into the hyper hop, basically. And so that is, you're just gonna have to learn this timing properly, basically. Just know not to do it too fast, and then, as long as you keep that in mind, everything in fighting games is a rhythm, okay? Everything in fighting games is a rhythm. There is no shock that musicians are better at combos than anyone else. So in execution, rhythm is very important. Da, da, da. Da, da, da. Rhythm is gonna get you. Rhythm is gonna... Okay, I'm doing it again. Sorry. So just learn not to do it too fast. You can actually kind of take your time with this. And once you get used to that, it's much better. Now, here's another thing that I want to talk about, hyper hop, that I haven't, hyper jump, that I actually haven't seen a lot of people do this. Can you do a super jump hyper hop out of dash? Asks Sparrow. The answer is theoretically yes, in actuality no. Because remember we talked about hitting down cancels a dash. Well, guess how you super jump? You have to hit down at some point. And so if you hit down, you automatically cancel the dash, and then you super jump, and you're already basically just super jumping raw at that point in time. So
Here we go.
that's the answer there. So technically you cannot super jump out of a dash because your down is always going to kill it. But now here's the interesting thing about dud jumps and or super hops, if you want to call it that way, is that it's not like KOF, okay? So I saw someone in the chat say, we KOF, baby. But we ain't KOF, baby. Like, it's not actually the way it works, because what you find out is you're not turning yourself into a different jump. You're not actually turning yourself into a different jump. Is that while you're super jumping, if you hit down, you cancel your up momentum. There you go. Yeah, I know, Sparrow. I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you again. But you notice that I can cancel the, like, if I just super jump, look at the background. Look at the background. Spider-Man's head passes the little lights up at the top, right? My head actually passes the lights up there. Now, when I do the original dud jump that I was doing before, you know, the screen doesn't even scroll. But you'll notice I can actually hit it a little later. And now I'm doing kind of like this middle jump. And I can even do it a little later, so that now my head is actually getting to the lights, but not passing the lights. What a lot of people haven't talked about yet is that you can actually just actively cancel the upward momentum of your super jump anytime during the super jump, as long as you're going up. That is how it works. When you're doing these jumps here, it's not that you're activating a special low jump. It's just that you're doing it as early as possible. But you can actually do it at any time. So if I really want to, like, let's say like Iron Man does a unibeam, right? So let's say he does unibeam, like so, right? If I dud jump, if I do the lowest dud jump possible, oh my god, I put him at exactly the right timing. Oh, I'm getting messed up because I'm hitting down back and it's canceling me into block. So I gotta hit straight down, basically. I will get hit by the unibeam, right? So that actually kind of makes it bad. But if I learn to cancel it a little bit later... Whoops. I can fly over it and still be low to the ground. Like so. Now if I can just learn to time it properly, I can fly over it because I didn't do the immediate dud jump. I did a slightly later dud jump. And then I'm still low so that I can hit Iron Man, right? So there's where it actually is going to get really tricky. Once people really start learning how to control this, whoops, wrong button. Once people really start learning how to control this, you know, you can see the potential right there, right? Like if I could actually time this properly, then I can get in and see now I can low jump over there, whereas if I just super jumped over the unibeam, like, did you see how high I am? Like, I'm really not going to be able to take advantage of it as well. Stop it, Iron Man. Why do I keep hitting tag button instead of heavy kick? See, it's like, it's harder. It's basically harder, is what I'm just trying to say. See, he was able to block in time, right? But if I can learn to mid super hopper, mid dud jump, now I can punish him. Do you see how that was such a huge difference on what I was able to punish? So yes, this is what people, this is future MvCI. Once people start getting good at controlling this dud jump from any height like this, so I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, or I can let it go all the way. Once people start learning how to control that distance, that is the future of MvCI. Some people are doing it already, but I'm not sure if a lot of people are aware of how potent this is, basically. I'm not sure if everybody is quite aware of that, so. And not only that, yes, it gives you air control like this, and like I said, the other important thing is that when you go to the other side, you also turn around, so you can kick them from the other side. Whereas the regular jump, you will never turn around. You will never turn around. So you would technically need to find a cross-up, which I don't even, okay, well, cross-ups do exist through some form or another, there you go. But no one is going to be standing still long enough for you to land a cross-up. This is Marvel, baby. You are not going to see finding someone standing still long enough to get a cross-up. So yeah, oh yeah, dude, for Spider-Man, like this mini dud jump, you're going to be able to get so much control out of that. Like so. Oh god, that's so good. See, I'm not doing that. Shit, that's good. I keep super jumping and doing stuff like this, but if I dud jump here, oh my god, that is so good. Oh shit. Oh man, this is so cool. Oh, that's gonna be so crucial to Spider-Man. That is gonna be so crucial to Spider-Man. Holy crap. Oh my god, that's so good. That's so good. That's so good. Not directly capping Spidey. Not directly capping Spidey. Yeah, sorry, I'm calling it a dud jump because it's easier to say than super jump or super hop. But super hop is what me, David, Sajam, and a bunch of other, and Yipes, and a bunch of us agreed to call it on stream. I'm gonna call it a dud jump just out of love for Olaf Redland. He paid me $1 to shill him, by the way. And so when he told me, he was like, I want you to tweet that Olaf Redland is the best in the world, and he paid me $1. I definitely tweeted that out, but I did put hashtag ad on there. So I still have responsibility from my side to continue shilling for Olaf Redland, so I'm going to call it dud jump for now, basically. It could be a hop, but having a hop be higher than a jump just feels weird, so there you go. Yeah, dude, I'm totally shilling out Olaf, dude. So there we go. That is very important about this. Now, one last thing I want to talk about super jumping, which is really, really problematic, actually, for a lot of old school Marvel players. And this is kind of weird, and I'm torn on whether I like this or not. Oh, yeah. So dud jump also gives you more momentum, too, as well. Well, I'm not sure what you mean. Dud jump also opens up more stuff after launcher because you don't need momentum canceling moves. Oh, right. Yeah. I see what you're saying. So you can actually, like, stay low to the ground like this, you know, so you can actually get like low to the momentum. Yeah, we'll get into that later. Air combos, I'm gonna spend almost an entire day teaching you guys air combos, because you think air combos is this? If you think that's all air combos are, is launch, button, 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 button. If you think that's all air combos are, you are so wrong. There's so much to learn about air combos, because if I did this instead, I will have a different situation. You'll be like, why? If I did this instead, it doesn't hit anymore. If I do this, you get the same result, but it's also a different situation. If I do this, you get a different situation. Oh my God, air combos are so complicated. Let me tell you that there are so much details to air combos, and you guys are gonna love it when I go over all of the air combo stuff. Yeah, I did a first attack on air combos, and it's basically gonna be a repeat of that, but now here in an MvCI context so that I can actually explain it better. For us Guilty Gear and Street Fighter V players, could you explain how Marvel metagame and neutral game differ from those? Yes, I will get into that in just a little bit. Let me get into the one last thing about super jumps, and that originally super jumps in X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom 1, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, and Marvel vs. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Every one of those games required a down tap and then an up to super jump. You had to do down up to super jump. In MvCI, I can hold down and hit up, and oh, look at that, I super jumped. Super jump. Super jump. And depending on who you are going to fill, oh yeah, and TVC, sorry, my bad, TVC. But in every one of those games, they required a down tap. In this game, that is not the case. If you hit up during a crouch, you are super jumping. So basically, if you jump from a crouch, you are super jumping. That's essentially how to do super jump now. So when you tap down up, you're actually going into crouch and then super jumping. The technical way to do a super jump in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is to jump from crouching. That's basically what you're doing. Jump from crouching. Now, originally, a lot of people are mad about this because now I can't normal jump out of crouching. And sometimes that's important because sometimes I just want to jump over the guy and I just like flew over his head. This is not what I wanted at all. And so now, before when you were crouching and you wanted to super jump, you would go to neutral down up. You would let go, neutral down up. So I had the choice of being able to jump or super jump from crouch. That ability has been removed in this game, and a lot of people hate it. And a lot of people don't like it, and I do not blame them because I would rather have the control of having your choice of which one to do. However, I do think that it's not so terrible in this game just because of dud jumps, because of super jumps, super hops. If you really want to jump from crouching, just move the joystick back down to down. And essentially, I get to jump from crouching with an even better controlled one. Because from here, if I forward jump, I can only land here. But from here, if I hold offensive crouch, you'll notice I'll jump over, and if I hold defensive crouch, I have the same distance as a regular jump. So, to be honest with you, you're really not missing anything not being able to jump from crouching, because I have a better jump. And as you saw, regular jump and super jump both get hit during pre-jump frames. There is literally no advantage over a regular jump over a super jump, so far that I can tell, unless anybody else has an example of where the regular jump is actually better than the super jump. Because of the ability to do a super hop or to be able to do a dud jump, super hop slash dud jump, I almost kind of feel like regular jumping is kind of not relevant anymore. I actually don't know if regular jumping is going to be particularly useful. There is still the dash regular jump, like I said, which will be useful because it still gets you in really nice ways, but most of the time you're going to be coming in with air dashes and stuff like that anyway. So honestly, even from the crouching position, even though you can't regular jump, I don't think it's that terrible because now I have like even stupid, like I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad. So there you go. Dud jump is not official terminology. That is James and Olaf terminology. So there you go. So even though you cannot regular jump from this, you can essentially do it if you just hit down on the controller and you'll mimic it with all of the blessings of a super jump anyway, such as turning around when you cross over somebody. So I don't think it's as bad as people think it is, that you can't regular jump off of here because you have the dud jumps. And to be honest with you, the dud jumps can be lower than a regular jump. It can be just as high as a regular jump, as you can see, like that. I can basically mimic a regular jump, and if we do this, 1 1,000, 2, okay, actually let's do this. Haha, watch this, automatic timer. Oh no, I can't do automatic timer. Okay, never mind. If I do this and land 1 1,000, 2 1, okay, 1 1,000, 2 1, they're about the same speed anyway, so it works. So it works, right? So essentially you're not losing much. You don't get the height sometimes, but like I said, you can control the height. So if you accidentally hit down back too early and you end up blocking a unibeam, whoops. Like so, if you actually were trying to do this, whoops. Okay, this is actually really important to note, actually. Oh, that's so crazy. Okay, hang on a second. There's something else we're going to have to talk about. So regular jump, I would get over the unibeam. If I did an immediate dud jump... Oh, this is interesting. Yeah, I can't get over it, but I can still do the higher dud jump and be okay. Like that, right? Now, here's something that I've noticed that's very interesting about this super hop thing. Just like with dashing, so I showed this already.
Target applied. Here's the big one. Proton cannon.
I showed this already that if I am forward dashing in the middle of this,
target applied. Here's the big one.
I can hold back because blocking will supersede my any other input. Blocking is considered an action, whereas if I don't have him playing and I hit back while running, I can't stop moving, right? I can't actually stop moving by holding back. Same thing if I have Iron Man do this. Whoops.
Target applied. Here's the big one. Proton cannon.
So if I have him do that, if I hold back and double tap back, blocking supersedes backdashing. Right? So I can't actually backdash in the situation. Blocking supersedes this. Well, what I have just noticed now, and this is actually pretty important to learn, is that if there is something on the screen and I want a dud jump, whoops, god damn it. Actually, let me just do this instead. Not that. I want to do that. Okay. If there is something on the screen like this, it looks like maybe not actually. Oh yeah, there it was right there. Yeah, I had it. I got it to work. As long as there's attack on the screen, blocking supersedes your ability to cancel your jump. If I hit down back, whoops, if I hit down back while an attack is out, I can't cancel my super jump because blocking as an action supersedes canceling my super jump trajectory. See? I always super jump even though I'm hitting down back. So in other words, if you are being attacked and you want to dud jump, you're gonna have to hit straight down, which is dangerous because you're not blocking. But that's how you're gonna be able to do that. So you're gonna have to be pretty careful. So that's actually a very crucial thing to learn. That's actually a very crucial thing to learn here, is that if you do want to cancel your super jump with a super jump cancel, with a super hop like this, down back is going to be dangerous if there is shit all over the screen, because it's not going to work. But then if there's shit all over the screen and you want to block, it's going to be dangerous. So you might have to learn to go down to down back. And then you can actually cancel it, and so basically like roll like a backwards fireball. Ooh, that's actually kind of a sick technique. Haha! Technique already discovered. Yeah. Roll your controller from up forward to like a half circle back to down back. And you will be able to get it every single time. There you go. Ah, see? Technique discovered. Now I can super hop and block right away. There you go. So, okay, there you go. So that is actually a really good tactic to learn. If you super jump forward and roll the controller, look at my inputs. Look at my inputs. If you roll the controller, you can see from up forward, you see up forward, down, down, back. If you do that half circle back there off of the super jump, then you will be able to do a dud jump as well as block almost instantaneously. So that's actually going to be a really crucial technique to learn, in my opinion. That's probably going to be something very important to learn at some point in time, because then you can actually super, and actually that actually really programs the timing so you don't do it too early too. It's just like a really good technique overall. Of course, if you want to actually keep moving forward, stop at offensive crouch. So just roll it to offensive crouch. But then again, you won't block, but you will be able to keep moving forward. But other than that, if you want to do this in the middle of shit all over the screen and still block and still get the super hop, that's a great technique right there. From offensive jump, roll it back to defensive crouch is a really good tactic right here. You do not, well, if you go to straight down back, what I had mentioned earlier, I don't know if you had missed this, is that if you go to straight down back, blocking has higher priority as an action over canceling your super jump. So if there's something on the screen and you hit just down back, you'll notice that I can't cancel my super jump timing because there's an attack on the screen. So when I hit down back, the game's like, let's see, you hit down back. Is there attack on screen? Yes, block. You can't kill the momentum of your jump anymore. If there's no attack on the screen, then they're like, oh, he hit down back. Kill the momentum on a super jump. But so if there's something on the screen, you can't do it. Oops. Like so. You see, I could not cancel the timing on that because there is something on the screen. But if I roll the controller, the offensive crouch cancels my momentum, and then I immediately swing to down back, so that even though he's attacking, I'll be able to block right away. So I can dud jump and still block at the same time while getting the lowest jump. That's the only reason why I recommend doing it. That's the reason why I recommend doing that motion instead, Tiger Claw. So there you go. Okay, so that's all I want to talk about for movement. I don't think there's really anything else to cover because everything else, such as flight, such as air dashes like Spider-Man, that's all going to be very character specific. So I want to talk about, we'll talk about that later. Although actually, you know, there is one thing I want to mention about air dash here. This has never worked in previous Marvel games, as far as I can remember. The Guilty Gear Instant Air Dash, the IAD from Guilty Gear, never worked in old Marvel games. You had to hit forward flip, forward in order to do it. But in MvCI, up, forward, neutral, forward does work as an IAD, as an instant air dash. I do not believe this worked in previous Marvel games because I never, ever, ever, ever remember being able to use that in any game. But in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, it works. So if you are a Guilty Gear player and you want to do as low of an air dash as possible, that actually works. You have your muscle memory, which will actually work for you. So you can actually do instant air dash attack like this with Iron Man by doing that. So a lot of people will jump and hit 2 punches, but that requires me to make sure I get to forward on the controller, so I air dash forward like this. And yeah, this is not a problem. Lots of people are going to get used to it. But if you're a Guilty Gear player, this is going to be second nature to you like you can't even imagine. So instant air dashing absolutely works. The instant air dashing motion absolutely works in this game. Oh! And that actually gives me an instant overhead with Spider-Man. So if my opponent is blocking like so, I can actually do... Oh shit! I have my instant overhead with Spider-Man! I'm so happy right now. I'm so happy right now. I can Guilty Gear instant air dash. And I get my combo. I'm so happy right now. Oh yeah, I'm so happy right now. I'm sure a lot of people know that. I'm sure a lot of people already know about this technique, but oh man, I hadn't thought about it until now, and now I'm super happy. Whoa! And it's much easier than trying to do like the 2-punch method. If you're used to Guilty Gear, oh my god, this is so fast. Look at this. Okay, I'm super happy. I'm super happy about that. I'm super happy about this. Hey, how many overheads am I gonna do, Iron Man? How many overheads am I gonna do? Good luck. All right. Anyways, so that is something that you can actually learn to do with air dashes. That's kind of important for your characters if they have air dashes. Is that if you are a Guilty Gear player, you can actually do the IAD method, which really gives you a very fast instant air dash for your character, which is really very nice to have. So there you go. All right. So that's one thing, but like I said, for every character there's going to be a lot of different air dash techniques. For example, Iron Man has tri-jumps like so. What does he use to come down? I don't know if he actually has a good... Oh, jab. Okay, there you go. So he has tri-jumps and stuff like that. But I'll get into that later on when I actually cover flight, because flight is going to be unique for every character. But there you go. That is all the movement that I have for you guys right now. We covered dashing, we covered walking, we did a lot of dashing stuff, we covered jumping, we covered super jumping, we've covered the dud jumps / super hops / super jump cancels, whatever you want to call it. And I just covered air dashing as well. Now, one thing I do want to mention about air dashing is it is the same as on the ground, in which 2 punches works as an air dash. So I can instant air dash like this. I can also do it by hitting 2 punches. But I don't know why it feels harder to do than the instant air dashing code. Like, I feel like I can actually do the instant air dash way faster than I can do the air dash punches. And it's just way more consistent. And in fact, this is even easier than Guilty Gear. Okay, so in Guilty Gear, it required up, forward, neutral, forward. So you needed, so like, look at my inputs, up, forward, forward. In this game, up, forward works. It looks like up, forward works. Yeah, look at that. Up, forward works. So you don't even need to be as precise as you do in Guilty Gear. It's probably just better to be as precise as Guilty Gear, so, you know, why not? I mean, dude, I can even do it off of a super hop. Look at this. So it doesn't even matter if I'm crouching beforehand. Oh my god. This is so good. This is so good. Holy crap. Yeah, there's definitely a height limit, but it's weird because I'm doing the IAD one as fast as possible. Oh, I know why it's easier. I know why it's easier. Okay, this actually makes it so that you should only learn to do instant air dash guilty gear command. Because if I hit forward too early, that doesn't trigger anything. That actually doesn't make you do anything. If I hit forward too early, the game doesn't care. It will wait until I reach the height and go, oh, you hit a forward like 2 frames ago, I'll let you instant air dash. If I hit the buttons too early, I come out with a punch. So instant air dashing, the guilty gear style, basically makes it so that you will never do it too early, essentially. That's why the instant air dash command is better than the 2 punches, because if you do it too early and you hit it during the open window, you'll come out with an attack instead. But if I do the instant air dash code, the hitting forward too early doesn't make me commit to another move, so it just lets me instant air dash the instant I reach that height. So it will generally always be the lowest air dash height that I can get. So just hit up, forward, forward, or up, forward, up, forward. Either one of those works. Up, forward, forward, up, forward, up, forward. God, that did not make any sense at all. Look at my inputs on the screen. Up, forward, neutral, forward. That's 1. Oops. Like that. Up, forward, into forward. I can't do it clean enough to demonstrate it. Or you can do up, forward, as well. That works as well. Like that. So up, forward, works as well. But basically, it's up, forward, neutral, forward. That's the easiest input right there. Okay, there you go. All right. So those are all the things that I covered already. So things like that. And like I said, for individual characters, you're gonna have to learn their air dashes because they're all gonna be. God, this is. Dude, this is so good. Oh, whoa. Oh, I see. Dude. That's gonna let me get in so much better. Look at that. Experiment just flies.
Here we go.
He doesn't catch thieves just like flies. He also flies just like flies.
Here we go.
This. That's way better than I thought it was. So basically, if I had had Captain America and I did something like this, I can get in there like that right away. God, okay, or if I had like a unibeam or something like that, that's really, really, really good. How I messed with instant air jump, LP, air dash H, it randomly crosses up. Instant air dash, jump, LP. Oh, you're talking about. Oops. I know what you're talking about. You're just basically talking about that, right? Where you do, where it's just basically if you let the H go a little bit, you'll actually get the cross up. So you can do. Like that, basically, but off of an instant air one like that. Yeah. Okay. So you can do. Yeah. Yeah. Basically, I mean, there's gonna be so many crazy things about that. There's so many crazy ways to do that. But okay, I'm happy about a lot of little techniques that I've discovered here. I'm gonna have to make little TLDR videos on these things to put on Twitter pretty soon. But God, this is so good. Holy crap, this is good. Okay, so that's all the movement that I wanted to talk about for now. I talked a lot about wave dashing. Make sure you practice your wave dashing. Make sure you practice your wave dashing because wave dashing is the most important thing in the game. You're going to want to learn how to wave dash as your ground movement most of the time. So definitely practice this. And it's not simple, but it is probably one of the most execution important techniques that you do have to learn. So Do I feel like the mechanics have nerfed zoning? Not in the slightest. Not in the slightest. So, instant air dashing tech actually makes, yeah, probably makes Chun-Li easier to play. Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually true. But no, not at all. Zoning is still super effective in this game. Like, I fought against Sejam. He had a Hawkeye team, and like I just couldn't get in on him because he just knew how to do this really, really well. Then again, I suck. I had never played the game when I played against him, and he just destroyed me. But that's a whole nother story there. Okay, so we talked about movement, all right? So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take a break real quick. I'm going to run some ads. When we come back, let's start talking about normals, okay? I mean, look at this. I have basically gone on for about 2 hours just on movement, okay? Just on movement. That's all I talked about, and that is how many systems are at play in these games. That is why, in my opinion, it is so important to go over all these systems, even though they're obvious. Like, at first it started like, why is James talking about jumping? Why is he talking about dash jumping? Blah, blah, blah. But, like, as you keep going and you just start mixing all these movement options together, it's just like, it's the craziest thing, right? Like, you just get, like... oh, dude, like, I can actually fake jump over somebody and come back from the same side.
Here we go.
That's really fun.
Here we go.
Anyways, but yeah, I've been doing all right, Mario. I've been traveling a lot, so I'm really tired. But in any case, I'm going to go to a break really quick, and then when I come back, let's start talking about normal attacks, okay? And let's just talk about attacking. Let's finally talk about the buttons. So we'll talk about the buttons. All I've covered right now is just the joystick, essentially. So let's come back to the buttons after this. Be right back, guys. Be right back. Alrighty. Now, if you didn't get any ads, don't worry about it. If you don't get any ads, don't worry about it, because that's just the way Twitch works. It's just the way Twitch works. Alright.